Doctors of Reddit, what's the biggest case of faking it you've ever seen? "30-year-old woman came to the ED with such excruciating belly pain, paralyzed, oh god it hurts when you press there, must have oxycodone now. ED doc said if she can get out of the ED bed and do 20 jumping jacks, we can give her the oxy. She did 20 jumping jacks, then got kicked out of the ED. Sounds like the woman who came into my dentist's office while I was working reception, sobbing frantically and saying she'd broken a tooth and was in agony. Wouldn't let the dentist examine the tooth, just demanded that she needed something for the pain. She got kicked out pretty fast once the dentist managed to get a look and said it was broken, but it was an old break and didn't even come close to the nerve. So one time I got kicked out of an urgent care clinic because I came in with terrible abdominal pain. They took me in at first and pushed on some parts of my stomach that didn't hurt and they assumed I was faking it and told me I should look for pain meds elsewhere. A nurse saw me continue to writhe in pain while waiting to pay my copay and recommended maybe a hospital if I wasn't faking it. She gave me directions to a faraway hospital. There was apparently one just a few blocks from where I was, so I'm not really sure why, but anyway I drove myself there. When they were pushing in my abdomen at the hospital they pushed lower on it than the urgent care place and dang they found the part that hurts. My appendix had ruptured, neat. My mom's an ER nurse and she said once some crazy lady came in and complained that she had the whooping cough. And whenever she coughed she followed it with a loud whoop. My cousin got glasses. Her 7-year-old little sister also wanted glasses because she thought it was so cool to wear them. So she started telling her teachers she couldn't read what was on the chalkboard. And she'd squint at home, and go incredibly close to the TV to watch things because she said she couldn't see things clearly. Her parents got worried and took her to the doctor. She read everything wrong on the vision test. Everyone seemed convinced that she needed glasses. But the doctor was a little concerned because the tests indicated she needed really thick glasses, and usually that wasn't the case unless there was a family history of vision issues. Her parents both had 20/20 vision and her sister only had astigmatism. They all realized she was faking it. So the doctor told her parents in front of her that she'd need some pretty intense eye surgery so she'd be able to see without glasses. They even wheeled in a machine to make it convincing to say they could do the surgery right then and there. I'm an ICU and ER nurse. We get a lot of malingering in the ER. One day, one of our frequent flyers came in and started faking a seizure in triage. Now obviously I know this lady and she's fake seized a million times before. But this time it's in the lobby in front of about 30 people, who have no way of knowing that it's fake. She's lolling around on the floor making a damn fool of herself and folks look horrified. I walked up to her and said calmly, "Karen, what are you doing?" To which this genius responds, "I'm seizing." I told her to stop seizing. So she did. Resident. On nights I had a gentleman pseudo-seizing. Really sad as this is common with PTSD and other mental health issues. Sternal rubs weren't doing anything, basically rubbing a knuckle in their chest which we often do to wake somnolent patients but has other uses. So I'm casually talking to him telling him what we're doing. I do this with patients that can hear me or not. Then I tell him we're going to raise him up in the bed and go to put an arm under his shoulder to move him. He looks at me and says I can do it myself, proceeds to move up in the bed, then continues his seizing. Bless his heart, I hope he gets the help he needs. Edit, yes, the bless his heart is sincere. Mental health is a drastically undertreated / not addressed aspect of our medical system and I have great compassion for these folks. Yes, this has to be treated as a real seizure until proven otherwise in case it does happen to be real. Thanks for everyone that brought up pseudo-seizures are antiquated and or psychogenic non-epileptic seizures is much more accurate. Meaning not having changes in brain waves consistent with epilepsy or need. Also, sternal rubs are very painful and are used sparingly when it is necessary to ascertain a patient's state when powerful interventions depend on the information we are able to rapidly acquire. Not something to be taken lightly. Anyone with NS, there are clinics that can help you, please seek out help. There is no reason to be ashamed, though ignorance and judgment is prevalent in any field. Had a patient when I was an intern feigning blindness. She would constantly be playing on her smartphone, only furiously trying to hide it when someone from the care team came into her room. The best was when my attending one day strolled past her room and threw his hand up in a highly exaggerated hello wave. She started to throw her arm up but caught herself halfway through, then threw her hand back into her lap and pretended to be staring off into nothing. When I was a kid, I learned I could fake sick and get out of school. So 1 to 2 days a week I would get a migraine and hold my head and complain, and I would get to go home. Eventually my parents took me to a neurologist who said maybe you just don't let him eat chocolate and sugar. I admitted to faking and was grounded for a long time. I grew up the opposite way. I would get 3 to 4 migraines a week, but everyone thought I was faking it because most days I seemed fine, just because I was learning how to deal with them and try to act normal. It wasn't until 8 years after they started that I went to a neurologist who said I have chronic migraines, which I dealt with unmedicated for 16 years. Now I'm on medication. I feel like my childhood was wasted. Ophthalmology technician. People pretend to be blind all the time. Go to check their eye pressure with the ton open, a device you poke them directly into the eye with, and they go, "What the fuck is that thing?" I have a sort of opposite angle story for this one. A friend of mine is completely blind, as in, eyes removed as a toddler blind. She had a rare cancer. She's worn glass eyes her whole life to keep the sockets from sinking in, as well as to limit the jarring appearance. Well, she had a new doctor she was seeing, so to speak, to get fitted for new glass eyes. I think that was why. When the tech brought her in, they told her they had to examine her eyes. And asked her to read the vision test chart. U.M? She kept trying to explain she is blind, and they were stuck on examining her. Whoa, your pupils aren't responding. No shit. She finally got so frustrated, she popped one glass eye out and said, "Here. Now you can check it out all you want." She apparently always would pull that gag on folks doubting her and or teasing her. She's awesome that way. Edit, whoa. Stepped away for some dinner and came back to find this comment about my badass friend getting a flood of upvotes. She will love that. A few details. I don't know much more about this story, as she was telling a series of "oh my god, are you serious" encounters she's had during her life, and this was my favorite. Second favorite is probably the cop who showed up unexpectedly at her house. Turns out the call was for next door, and insisted she had to be high as hell because her pupils were dilated in bright light. Yes, this was definitely a tech and not the doctor, and yes, her glass eyes are amazingly realistic, and I had no idea at first. She also endures regular bullshit for her guide dog. Yes, she's on her 3rd or 4th I think now, a very large and sweet German Shepherd I want to pet so bad but can't just yet. He's too friendly with strangers. That's great normally, but she doesn't want to be yanked across the room/sidewalk/street because he wants to be your new best friend. She got serious flack at an airport, want to say it was Denver, way back pre-9/11 because at the time they were insisting the dog couldn't go on the plane with her. Made her miss her flight. She has sworn never, ever to go through that airport again. And now people with pseudo-support dogs really piss me off because their little untrained purse-riding puffballs lose their shit barking and launching at her 100-pound shepherd that spent years getting certified. When I was a kid, I would plan my sick days way ahead of time. Had an old thermos that I would pour leftover milk, meat, whatever. Leave it on the windowsill in my bedroom, just letting it fester for a month. Of course the thermos was closed so no smells escaped. I set an alarm for the middle of the night, dumped the contents of the thermos on my rug and ran in to tell my dad I was throwing up and so sick. However, this thermos monstrosity filled the entire condo up with horrible smells, and both me and my dad ended up puking into the tub at the same time every time we tried to clean up the rug. He had to take the day off work too. Needless to say, I never pulled that again. If you like the content, please consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit the like button.